Hey guys, welcome to this week's lecture on time sampling. I'm trying to upload this new format of the lecture will be entirely PowerPoint with recorded vocals, and hopefully it will be closed captioned, and hopefully everything will translate across and work out. Please do let me know in the discussion tab this week how you like this type of lecture, and in general how you liked all of the lectures, preferences, things you don't like, things you do like. Any kind of feedback will help me improve in the future. So yeah, hope you enjoy this week, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye. I'd like to start the lecture today with a little play. This is word puzzles, and see if you can guess them. I'll put the answers in next week's lecture announcement. Time sampling observation is pretty similar to the checklist, except that we're looking at specific times. So this type of observation is useful if you're looking for why certain behaviors happen at certain times of the day. For example, if you have a child who's biting, it's helpful to, or actually if they're displaying any kind of violent behavior, it is helpful to have a time sampling checklist observation to see the frequency and to see the timing of the day that it's happening. Possibly they could be hungry or tired, and this type of observation would help you easily identify that. In setting up this type of observation, we want to have the child's name, their age, and the date you're going to complete the observation. The topic that you're observing, in this case, we're observing social interaction. And our question that we want to know is how often is the child interacting with the peers and with adults? It's important to have a key so that we understand what we're looking for. And the time frame is 30 minutes. We are, in this case, doing 5-minute intervals. And then in this case, we're observing during free play time. So we're going to write the area that we are observing in, and then in each time frame, we're going to write the initials of what we observed happening. In the example we just looked at, we are using a key instead of tally marks. However, you can set up a similar time sampling if you wanted to just write specific behaviors that you wanted to observe and then use tally marks instead of a key. It's helpful to sit in a place where you can see the clock, or possibly to set your cell phone right next to your observation paper so you can see when the intervals are happening. Another helpful tool in this type of observation is to set your timer for 5 minutes, just so you are aware and can move on to the next 5-minute interval. I thought it would be fun to try out a little sample of setting up a time sample with Melissa McCarthy, who is hilarious. So what we're going to do is set up, you will draw at your house a time sample chart, and the behavior that we are watching for, we're going to use 1 minute intervals instead of 5-minute intervals. 1 minute intervals, and we're watching for uses left hand to talk with, uses right hand to talk with, uses both hands to talk with, and touches face with hand. So these are the behaviors we're looking for. You're welcome to set it up as a tally observation, or you're also welcome to set it up with the key, whichever way you find works for you. Once you set up your sample time sample chart, go ahead and click on each of the YouTube videos, which should take you to Melissa McCarthy clips on Ellen interviews, which are hilarious, and I hope you enjoy them, but also will give us a little bit of practice with similar to last week's observation, or actually 2 weeks ago observation. This is a quantitative data observation, meaning that we are collecting quantity. So we're converting information into numbers or time. So we're observing a behavior and seeing how many times does that behavior happen within a certain time period. It's not the best if we're wanting quality data. So information that yields narrative results gives a quality of information. In that case, we're going to want running records or anecdotal notes. But it is a helpful type of observation to use, like I said, if you're trying to track a quantity of something, how often is something is happening and when it's happening. This is a really useful type of observation. So in this slide, we are just starting to construct your time sample that you'll be using with your child out in the field. So think about, what do you want to learn about your child? You need to select an appropriate topic and then define the event. In this case, we're doing play stages. We want to know, what stage of play is my observation child displaying? And we're going to look in the center activities for that. So here's another example of a key that is defining the categories using codes. So in identifying clear and distinct categories, you want to generate sets of categories, vertical and horizontal, define the categories when necessary, select a sign or category system, and decide if category codes are needed. And then you'll design a recording form. You'll add a heading. And here is another sample of what it could look like. They put here all of the activity areas that they were observing in, and then they put the times in 5-minute intervals, and then they used their key to write in the letters of where the child went, when, and what they were doing. And here's a sample of what it looks like when it's all put together. We will still be doing a reflection with this observation. So here is a sample of the reflection for Ashley that goes along with the play time sample. You still want to include the activity and the open-ended question for the observation this week. You'll notice that the DRDP measures are included in the previous slide and this slide. However, they are out of date. They're using the old numbers. So if that throws you off, just to let you know that those are not the right DRDP numbers, and but you will be adding your DRDP numbers on your observation from the current DRDP. And yeah. All right, so that concludes this week's lecture. I feel like it's a lot shorter than writing everything out, but in the end, it ends up being about the same amount of information. Let's see, so this week you're going to create and complete a time sample. Remember to review the information in this lecture. Remember to provide a reflection, and that includes your activity and open-ended question. And use extra observation time to collect your data for your DRDP. I've included this week a sample. It's called the time sample example. And if you would like this observation, I found over the years people struggle with creating. So what I've done is created a sample that you are welcome to print out and just use that if you don't want to come up with your own. And of course, you are welcome to come up with your own if you have other things you'd like to observe for. But this, the one that I uploaded is on social interaction. So you're welcome to use that if you'd like. There's also a rubric, so make sure you follow the rubric to get your full points. And